somebody wants to talk about Portugal, yes, for those who have the privilege and the opportunity to work remotely, Portugal is an increasingly popular jurisdiction. And we get dozens of inquiries daily. And Portugal, Dubai, and of course Singapore, which is where we're based, have to be the top three. So, but let's talk about Portugal. Someone is asking about whether they can run an LLC from Portugal tax-free under the NHR, which is called the NHR stands for the Non-Habitual Residence Program. Now, it's kind of contentious in that I know there are different advisors saying different things. Let's first of all start off by what an LLC is. So an LLC is a unique creature in law, and that's a hybrid entity. So it does provide limited liability protection. So that's what it was designed to provide, limited liability protection. But it typically, if let's say that you're based in the US, it typically won't confer any special tax benefit. So it's not really, at its heart, it's not really a tax play, but it's all about limited liability protection. Because otherwise, without the benefits of limited liability protection, should there be some sort of dispute with a customer, with a client, a supplier, whatever the case may be, you would be laid bare. So they can come after you for your personal assets as well. So that's why it's super important that I tell clients all the time, the last thing you want to do is anything in your own name. You want to use an entity. Okay. Now, the LLC, from a tax point of view, it's transparent. So in other jurisdictions, the closest comparison would be a partnership if there's more than one of you, or sole proprietorship or sole trader if there's just one person. So that's essentially what an LLC is. Now we've discussed what it is, at least within the US context. So if you are living and if you do move to Portugal and you spend time and you become tax resident there, I know there are some advisors, there's some conversation about whether under the NHR it can be enjoyed, the income derived from the LLC can be enjoyed tax-free. Now, under the NHR, it does allow for foreign derived dividends to be received into Portugal tax-free under the non-habitual residence program. But with an LLC, because it's transparent, it doesn't technically give you any dividends. So there are no dividends with an LLC, they're distributions, which may seem, it's more than just terminology. This has a different definition in law. So this is something that needs to be really kept in mind. So that's the first thing. So then the question is, okay, well, therefore, how are these distributions treated? Well, the NHR was designed, when it was designed, it was contemplated that the benefit will be given to foreign derived dividends, and a distribution technically is not always a dividend. It may be under certain circumstances, it can be interpreted as such, but you can't just assume that anything that comes from an LLC can be treated like a dividend in Portugal. It probably depends on the facts and circumstances. So, having said all of that, is it possible? Generally speaking, no, because for most people, they are single members, what we call a single member LLC. So they are the real person who is running the entity. And once they decide to run that entity from Portugal, one of the tests in international tax and determining where an activity is to be taxed or where entities to be taxed, one of the tests is around management and control. So that entity, even though it's a limited liability company, management and control, if it's being exercised from Portugal, it becomes taxable to Portugal. So essentially be treated as business profit. Or some people treat it as capital distributions or capital gains, and therefore tax it at 28%. And some people treat it as business and it's taxed at 20%. Regardless of how it's interpreted, it will really not be subject to zero tax, because I see this is what in some discussion forums, that's what is being positioned as. There's this incredibly smart way of moving to Portugal and enjoying zero tax. Well, unless you're a US person, you're going to be paying tax anyway. So just to make it clear, it will not be subject to zero tax. And if you have a look at our website, I think I mentioned our website has over 2,000 articles that are just there, free content. And you do a search, you go to articles and you do a search for treatment of US LLCs in Portugal. I repeat, treatment of US LLCs in Portugal. It's important because it makes, in that article that I wrote, I made reference to a specific case that was, not tried, but it was, it was decided in Portugal. This is back in 2017. So in December 2017. And the facts of the case, I have it both in Portuguese and in English. So it was considered, and the decision of, of that particular court is that no, it is no way, it would not be tax free. So it would be subject to tax in Portugal. So have a look at it. But the bottom line is that I know that there's a lot of discussion and a lot of heated discussion from what I hear, but the authorities in Portugal have made a determination. And well, anybody who really understands the nuances of international tax law would have seen it as pretty obvious. It's not going to be subject to, it's not a loophole. You're not tax free to Portugal, generally speaking.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.